Okay.
It says we're live.
Okay. All right. Well, we're live. Okay. Awesome. Okay. So sorry that it's a little late, everyone, if anyone, here to see this. But at the same time, today we're going to speak about paradigm shift. And it's going to be an awesome discussion and conversation. And it also will help people to learn how to change, to make a shift in their paradigms to get the things that they truly desire in life. And it all starts with your thinking and what we've been, programmed to think as we were younger, coming up as children and young teenagers and adults. So, and this past weekend, Kim and I attended Bob Proctor's live program. So basically, it really moves a lot of people, and it's definitely based on now. This topic cannot be covered in one video, so we'll be broken up in different videos. But for now, we get started from the very basics. But we're going to start off, and I'll hand it over to Kim.
Well, hello, everybody. Hang on a second. Let me lower this. Well, like Marisha said, we watched the live stream event, Bob Proctor, and it's called Paradigm Shift, and it's amazing. It is amazing because this really has hit home to me because, like Marisha said, it talks about mindset and what exactly is a paradigm shift. They say, well, what is a paradigm shift? We never even heard of that. Well, basically, a paradigm shift is basically a movement in your mind. It's a time when you shift the way you think, the way you look at everything. You break away from the routine of what you're doing every single day, and then you take a stand. But there's two levels in your brain. You have your conscious thought process and your subconscious. Am I saying that right, Marissa? Right?
Yes, the thoughts that into your conscious mind first, and then it goes into your subconscious mind. Yeah.
That's what we talk about. The conscious mind is where we gather all our information, right? We gather all our information. This is where all our thinking accumulates. But what we don't realize, and for the longest time I was having this issue, is our subconscious mind. It's like it's hidden in there. It's like dormant. It controls all our actions, and we have to get a hold of our subconscious mind in order to make a shift, a change, right, Marisha? Is it like that?
Yes.
And
definitely.
This is what Bob Proctor and the whole group has named this particular one paradigm shift. And he says it's out of the dark into the light, and it is amazing because you don't realize you are in the dark until you do have this shift. But you have to recognize that you are in the dark. You don't know it until it becomes obvious that there needs to be a change, right, Marisha? Is like that?
Yes. And basically, paradigms is just a multitude of habits, of habitual habits that you've been doing, as I was stating, since you've been a child. It's like a lot of people's programming. It's like a lot of people programming that's been put into your mind, your subconscious mind. It's like you inherited it. And it even starts as far as back as your DNA, even when you within your mother's womb, so to speak. And then it's like everyone that you're around, and once you arrive on this planet, everyone that you're around, parents, guardians, family, friends, whomever your environment is, whoever your parents have you around, everything is going into your subconscious mind as a newborn baby, because your mind is wide open. And all the things that's just around you is just like, and it's creating your life, even as a newborn baby, as a child, and growing up. And then when you grow up and you have these habits and you don't even know why you believe what you believe in, why you do what you do, why you speak the way you speak, and it's all because of your environment that you were brought up around. And like I said, it's a multitude of habits, and that's pretty much what paradigms are. And then it's other people's belief systems that's ingrained in you. Have you ever thought about like why you do the things you do, why you believe what you believe, and why do you eat the foods that you eat, and why do you speak the language that you speak? Well, it's because of all whom you are raised around and brought around. And then it's like it's a cultural thing, and culture is nothing but like fixed habits, group habits, basically. It's like it is stated, we all may look different, sound different, dress differently, eat different foods, but essentially we all are the same. We're all our spiritual beings. And even though we have these habits, these habitual habits that we live by as growing up as child, and from our childhood, we can change those. But it's up to us to do that. We definitely can create a new pathway, so to speak. You can just create the life you truly desire by changing the way you think. And the only way you can really, like I said, really change the way you think, you got to pinpoint those paradigms. Like if you're a person that do something and your parent like, oh, why did you do that? You say, well, I don't know. What you mean you don't know? I don't know. You know better. I know. So why did you do it? I don't know. It's because it's all fixed habits ingrained in just into your subconscious mind. And the way our subconscious mind work is we're gonna act out and live that whatever our subconscious mind just took in from our conscious mind. So the way to fix that is this pretty much to get through your conscious mind first. And the only way you can replace the bad habit is to replace it with a good habit. And it's all done by repetition of things. And there's two ways of doing this. You know, one way is an emotional impact, and the other way is through repetition. But 9 times out of 10, people are not going to go experience an emotional impact. But the repetition of things would definitely help you change your paradigm. And silly as it may sound, but you will have to write things down. You will have to feel it in your hand, the spirit of it. You have to write things down. You have to, it's like a kid or a person memorizing a poem, or an actor or actress memorizing their lines. And the only way they become that great actor or actress if they memorize those lines very well. And it's called repetition. And they become who that part. They become the person. They become whoever that character is. So through repetition of things in life, or something, just trying to create a new life for ourselves or a new thought, we have to repeatedly repeat it over and over and over again until we ingrain it in our conscious mind. Then it goes into our subconscious mind, and eventually we act.
I want to talk about the, Bobby, he did the coin thing. You talking about the coins?
Yes.
And, I know you were talking about how our subconscious mind and how, we're programmed. Yeah. And, it's like, I listen to people all the time. They talk about, I need to go to college, and everybody's programmed. Let's go to college. Let's go to college. Well, they don't even know who they are. Now they're going to go off to college. But, I don't know why I said that, but I just find it really interesting that everybody's so programmed that that's the direction you got to go in your life. And Bob is really interesting. He didn't even finish high school. Did he finish high school, Marsha? I don't think he did.
No, he only did 2 months of high school and had no formal education, no business experience, but yet he figured out the laws of life and excel extremely. Yeah. And the thing is, like how we are programmed to believe that in order to be successful, you have to go to school, you have to get degrees, you have to master everything, and then you become successful. But that's all a lie, which I always knew, because it's a system fix. It's a fixed system. That's a whole nother video, and people are sucked into the system. So.
And he is so funny, he says, I didn't even read a book till I was 26.
Yeah, exactly.
He goes, they told me I got to read a book. He says, get out of here. I don't read that book. What do I need this book for? And he said, but
yeah, it definitely was a life changer for him. And you read that book every day. To this day, he's been in the industry for 55 years. And it's basically teaching people how to get connected with the source, and learn how to change your paradigms and operate through your subconscious mind. Because we all live through our subconscious mind. Subconscious mind is like, it acts out in our lives. And it's like the fixed habits that we have, the thoughts that we create, we bring them into life, into our reality. So, and people don't understand how important it is to be careful what you think about, because thoughts are things.
Yeah, exactly.
And they create your reality. People think that they can think negative thoughts and have a great day or a great life, but it doesn't work that way. And the only reason why people think that way, because they're fixed. Once again, it's a fixed habit that people, think like that. It's like almost normal to them to think negative. But at the same time, and they have like probably 85-90% negativity going in their mind, and probably the other 5 or 10% They got positivity, and they just like, you ever find those people who just happy sometime, and yeah, or they don't believe in something. Sounds good, yeah, and they got a lot of skepticism. God bless you.
Sorry.
They got a lot of skepticism within them, and they don't believe. But the reason why they don't believe, because they was programmed just the way they are, how they grew up, and not even aware that they're programmed like that. They just think that's life, and that's just how it is. But it's not. And the great news about paradigm shifting, you can, within a snap of a finger, you can really shift yourself just like that to create the life that you truly desire to live, and move forward and actually excel very high and greatly. And be
that part about the coin really caught my attention because it goes right along with what you're saying.
Yes.
Just, he talked about that. He talked about how you react and you react and you respond. And it was amazing because I thought about myself. I'm really good at reacting. I used to say this to my son, just remember you need to think before you act. And I'm telling him that, and I'm the worst when it comes to that. It was amazing when Bob was walking around and he was talking to people and he says, have you ever lost your temper? And they said, well, yeah. And he said, well, how did that make you feel? And it's funny because I started talking to people and asked them if they ever lost their temper. And they'd say, well, yeah. And I said, well, how do you feel after that? He said, not good.
Exactly.
People that got big egos, they'd be like, oh, I feel really great because, I won that argument. And I'd be like, well, and
they lose all the time. No one wins. Argue. That's just another step backwards in life, because
and that's what he says.
That's such an important thing, and that coin is a great reminder, because the rough side, the edgy side, is letting you know you're losing in life. Because if you react, that rough side let you know you're going backwards. That smooth side means you respond, and when you respond, that means you're moving forward in life and you win. See, the person that gets you to react, they win you over. It's almost like the wicked sucking you in. It's like, did I just really react to that moment? And then you're like, geez, I just messed up. It's like you took some steps backwards. But when you respond, I remember when we talk regularly on our own, I said, when you respond to people, what they do, the wicked, they flee. It's like they go in their corner, they sit down somewhere. It's like kindness, the way you respond to people always wins people over. And it's like, I never really found the reason, because I know I used to react too in certain, times back then. But I even learned how to respond even before Bob had this webinar, because to me, I feel as though if it takes that much energy to react and build up, just think if you switch stations, so to speak. You take that same energy and put it within something positivity, watch how fast you excel. So it's like you always can think about, if I could build this much energy, this much strength up to scream and fly my top off, so to speak, my head or whatever, why can I do that doing something great that I want to succeed in life? And if you can take, and you can, everyone can take that same energy and use it towards something that's very positive, or something, a goal in life, and they can actually see themselves rise really high and excel. And like anything, whether it's a business or relationship, friendship, whatever, you can excel very high and great with that. I'm a witness to a lot of great things that I experienced just by responding. Not only just responding, it's just like, it really helps if you feel good, because 99% of the time, if you're reacting, then later on in life, people come down with these illnesses. And it's because of all this negative energy, and they're killing their cells within gradually. These cells are like croaking out in it, and it's like, it's almost, you can feel the pain, so to speak. And they cause all these, and they come up with a new name for a new illness almost every day now. Next thing you know, they be like, oh, that's called the Chef weed or something like that, or that's called the nail polish disease. It's just crazy because they come up with all these kind of terms, but it's all people doing it to themselves. And if they just learn how to respond in life instead of reacting, they'll feel good. They health improve. They stay healthy. People literally cure themselves mentally because they mentally went into that stage in the first place. And they can mentally come out of it.
Well, one thing that I found, Marisha, when we're talking, and this, what Bob was talking about hit home with me, because of a major shift that I've been going through. But I find a lot of times people, they're so used to settling in life, and they have a lot of damage, and they don't realize it. a lot of times this damage that's been done to them over the years, and this is what he talked about, you know, you have to identify this, and that's where that subconscious mind, it's almost like you got to go in and do a purification of the mind so that you can incorporate the shift in order to change, in order to create the new habits, the new routine that's going to guide you in a different direction, a positive direction.
Right.
But it's not knowing how to identify it. And that's what Bob, he was talking about, even with the react and respond, you know, getting our brains to think about that before we actually, you know, do it. And so, you know, you have to train the brain. I mean, you do. You have to train the brain. You have to train, you know, your heart, everything in order to go in the right direction. And that's another thing he talked about, you know, the difference between people, you know, the ones that are willing to step up to the plate and put that repetition in and set those goals and work towards them, because it's amazing the difference between the ones that take that mindset, and that's so powerful, you know, and that's what he talks about a lot. Bob does. He talks about the mindset of the person and how when the mindset is right, and that's the amazing thing. I'm going back to the college thing. They don't even know who they are, so they're going off to college to take some kind of career, you know, education. They get out and they say, this isn't even who I am, you know, and so they're kind of lost, you know. So if you could get your mindset straight, and that's what Bob was talking about, getting your mindset straight so that you can head in the right direction, take the appropriate steps. Is that right? Is that what he was talking about?
Yes, definitely. When you really think about it, like you stated, it's like, just because you're your name, you know, you ask somebody, who are you? They say, well, you know who I am. They state their name, they state their address, date of birth, etc. But that's not who you are. Because, you know, who you are is deep within. As we are all spiritual beings, that we have to find out our true callings. And we could choose our own purpose, but the bottom line is you have to change, you know, get it inside do that paradigm shift to get inside within your subconscious mind. But yes, as you stated, you know, people, as we both were stating, definitely people go to schools thinking this is what they want to do, but usually it's just somebody, a parent or somebody living their life through them what they never got a chance to achieve in life, and they trying to make their child achieve that. Because what if a child just say, hey, I don't want to go to college, I just want to start a business, I just want to do it right now. No, you need to do this. Because it's a fixed system. It really is. And then their minds are fixed. And their minds are poisoned. And then they got all these habits. Then when you bring something new to them and such, it's like, you can have this desired life that you want. And they look at you like, yeah, whatever, how? You know, oh, that's only for the rich and famous. No, I mean, anybody, we are all born rich, regardless of whether people realize it or not. We are all born with the same potentials. It's just up to each and every individual to bring their potentials to the reality of the forefront of life. And it's, you know, and then once they do that, they can have the successful life. It don't have to be just 3% of the world have all the money. It could be way more percentage. But see, they know how to use their mind. They know how important repetition is. They know how important it is to make firm, solid decisions. They know how to go and get it done. And a lot of times people, the average person, in their mind, they're confused. They have a lot of chaos going on within their mind. They are thinking like, you know, their subconscious mind is pulling them back if they are trying to change. They got this thing going on where they call it a terror barrier with Bob Proctor and them, because it's basically pretty much your old habits trying to keep you stuck. When you're trying to go for something new, your old habitual habits like, no, we're comfortable right where we are. But you got to get comfortable with feeling uncomfortable in order to change. And to do that, you want to start shifting your thought process. You want to start shifting your habits that you're used to doing and creating new habits. And the way to do that is through repetition. And you have to continuously do it. And it can go as long as 21 or 30 days, 90 days, and sometimes even longer depending on the person. But it depends on how quickly you can adapt and adjust to it and get through those terror barriers and things of that nature, because you're going to experience those, because a lot of people do. I mean, everybody pretty much, because even I experienced them in my past. You know, it's like, why do I feel this way? And some people don't even understand, because some people think it's their intuition talking to them, but it's not. It's the fear talking to them. It's their old ways trying to keep them stuck. But when they realize that your intuition is the one who's having you reach out, step out for more, because you're not satisfied with where you are. And God didn't create us to be satisfied human beings, because if we were, we'd be stuck. We would never grow. A baby would never grow from an infant. A child would never grow to an adult, and we would never excel in life. You have to get comfortable being dissatisfied. Not saying that you don't have gratitude. You always have gratitude for what you have, but you gotta always want to achieve more. That's what life is about. Life is about increase. It never was about standing still. You gotta always want to move forward in life. You got to keep excelling in life, because life is about moving forward. And we have a lot here on this planet we have yet to discover. But it all starts within the mind. And the mind is a very important thing. Once you control your mind, you will control your life. Other than that, most people's minds are controlling them, and it's full of chaos. And that's where all negativity comes in.
And you know, he said something interesting. I've got my notes right here. He says, it's not who you are, it's who you think you're not. And I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, I got that quote on my wall. It's this frame. This frame.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because when they said that, I was like, I always type like, I have that in my loft area right on the wall. Because it is the big side. It's like, it's not who you think you are, it's who you think you're not. Something like that.
Yeah.
And
then,
it's like,
did you that exercise he had us do? You know, he said this was really interesting because I had to read this several times to kind of try to understand it. Because even when Sandy Gallagher was up there and she was going, you know, why did you do that? You know, and you know you shouldn't do it, and you know, and I was like, oh my God. Well, hang on. He's like, here's the gold card. He says, so here's the saying, he says, rather than permitting my paradigm to employ all of my spiritual power to hold me back or keep me where I am, I make this committed decision, regardless of how difficult it may be, for a period of time. My paradigm shift is constant and certain. And it was really interesting when he said that. He goes, okay, you got it written down, you know, because he wanted us all to write it down. And he says, now, he says, and a lady came up on the stage. He said, he gave us this exercise, didn't he? He says, he wants you for 30 days. Was it 30 or 90 days, Marisha?
Hand exercises for 30 days, but they have to write with their opposite hand.
Yeah. and you know, it reminded me of something I saw a long time ago. I saw this guy that made this bicycle. You know, we get on a bicycle, you know, we get on the bike and, you know, the steering wheel, you know, goes wherever we want it to go, right? But this bike went in the opposite direction that we were used to. And so when people would get on this bike, they would fall down. They would fall down. They would fall down. And it was really interesting because when he said this exercise, it automatically brought that back to my mind, because what happened was they had to train the brain to think the opposite. And at first he was talking about, how do you feel? Remember, he says, how do you feel? And you're like, God, this is so tense, you know, because I'm right-handed. And I was like, I told my friend today, I said, there's no way I would cut hair with my left hand. There's just no way. So,
but you know, the more you practice it, the perfect it becomes, because he just is showing you and explaining how it is difficult for people to change a habit.
Yeah, exactly. And it's true.
Once you change that habit, you will keep going with it until you get it and you master it. It becomes second nature. It's natural. So that is a very excellent exercise. At first, people, they're like, how are you going to do this? Raise your hand. Like, yeah. They're like, yeah, we're going to have you keep doing it. And you're going to feel like, well, why should I do this? This is like so childish. But it's not, because it's actually is showing you what it takes to shift your paradigm, what it takes to change a habit. And it starts off like, it's like, some people feel like they cripple or whatever, but you see like you're kindergarten, learn how to write all over again. And then as you continuously go, your writing gets neater and neater, and you go faster and faster. And eventually, guess what? You master it. So, but that's just, like I said, that's just explaining how it takes to change a habit, how it takes to shift things in your mind, and then it's things in your life. So that's a very, very simple, great exercise. And also people need to realize too that it's the simplest things that what matters most. It never was the big major kaboom things that you see, but always know that it always takes something small to add up to those big things. Nothing ever steps out into light. It just be a big shebang. Everything starts out small. That's even within a relationship, a marriage, or a friendship, or a business. When you see something that you don't like or that takes place that you know is wrong, but what you do, you ignore it. You're like, okay, I'll let this slide, you know. Oh, then eventually the ball gets bigger and bigger. Then it becomes like a snowball, so to speak. Then it's too big to stop. And then that's when people start exploding and they react instead of responding. Well, like I said, it's the smallest things that matters most. If you nip it in the bud at the very beginning, you do the small deeds in life, that's what creates the huge results. But this way, you want the results that you're seeking, not something opposite that you don't desire.
Exactly, exactly. You know, Bob, he was really interesting. You know, it was the part when he decided to play the big record. Okay,
The straight secret.
that was really interesting because he said one of the audios on a record. I haven't seen one of those in years. From the book The Strangest Secret, you know, it was and I can't remember what year that was written, but I think it was back in the 50s.
Yes, it was.
And it was interesting because he talked about a lot of people conform in life, you know, they conformity, and
yes,
yeah, and he talked about in this Strangest Secret, he says conformity. People act like everyone else whose lives are shaped by circumstances. You know, that is their excuse why they can't change. Okay, they just can't do it. You know, they don't know why or where they're going in life, and they're like floundering out there. You know, they talked about it's like a ship. You know, got this ship and it's going to go out to sea, but it has no crew. It has no coordinates or anything. But when the ship has the coordinates, the crew, the captain, everything, it's going to go to where it needs to go. And he talked about that in success in life. And that's when you go back to, you know, talking about the mind shift, you know, the subconscious mind and stuff. And it's making a decision to acknowledge your issues, address them, and come up with a better plan of action. And he also said in that The Strangest Secret, and he says it's really not a secret, it's just life, but a lot of times we don't know it. He says the person, first you have to believe in order to succeed, okay? And he says you have to alter your attitude in your mind. And the person that succeeds is the one who progressively goes after what they decide and become what they are passionate about. And they work towards a goal. And, you know, I'm going to use myself. I mean, that hit home with me because one of the things with me is I've never been really good at writing my goals down because, you know, I never knew really what I wanted. And here I am, I'm older, and I'm like, I finally figured it out. But, you know, because you, Marisha, I've been getting around Bob Proctor has really been a major shift in my mindset, and it's been incredible. And I've been sharing this with so many people because I think it's important that they see that there's somebody out there that can give them direction. You know, we deal with a lot of people in our business that are mentors, and they have been incredibly in the impact on people. They provide us with information that is really so phenomenal. And then you get Bob Proctor, and it's like, oh my God, this is like explosive. It's like,
yeah, it's like a total different ball game, right?
You know, it's like you don't need a psychiatrist. You need Bob Proctor.
That's the same. It's like it's spinning, like whoa, especially like tuning to him live. You know, a lot of people say, well, we see a lot of him on YouTube, but that is awesome information you got on YouTube. But if you see him live, it's like it's way more than he delivers on YouTube. So it's like I said, it's like taking your head and shake it off. But that's a great point that you brought up too about the Strangest Secret for Mangel. Yeah, it is pretty much when he stated people conform, everyone acting like everyone else. Because people are afraid to stand out and be different. People are afraid to be talked about, criticized. People are afraid to be the outcast of the crowd. So people live to impress everyone else. And 9 times out of 10, they're impressing people who they don't like.
Yeah.
And who get 2 seconds of their life. Don't care about them if they breathe or whatever. So, and it's just that most people live to do exactly that, to live to impress someone else. And then when they get at a certain point in life or a certain age, they feel like they messed up. They realize they missed out. They shoulda, woulda, coulda stories come in, and they all get all like, then they slump down and go into to this depression type stage because they regret now.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's why I like, because when I was younger and people was like, when I told you before, they was like, well, why when everybody go left, you go right? Why when everybody go right, you go left? I said, because if they go left, I want to know what they're afraid of. What's someone going right? I'm going right. I'm not following, because I'm not following the herd. And I said, if everybody going right, I want to know why they're afraid to go left. So I'm going to go left. And if they going backwards, I'm going to go forward. And that's just how I saw things. And they looked at, because they was afraid to be different and outcast. And they was like, well, I don't want anybody to think I'm different. I said, why not? Different is good. Change is good. Why would you want to be like someone else? It's only one of you. Only one of you. I don't care if you came here with an identical twin. You're both still different.
Yeah.
It has to be another you. That's why I don't believe in competition, because there's no such thing as competition. You only compete with yourself if you ever attempt to compete with anybody. And you always lose, you know. And even if the competitor thought they win, you're killing yourself, because you could have went ahead way further if you just knew it was all about you. You are the only one, the creator of your own life, your reality, and it's only one of you, and it's one beautiful you. No one could ever be you. No one could ever replace you. So why would you want to be someone else? I never understood that. And just like when companies go into business and they compete against each other, retailers, and then you find about all these companies falling, bankruptcy, this and that, because they live their life competing. And that's what Earl talks about in there too. He said when you go into a town and you see all the setup is the same, just like every Walmart, every Target, you know, all these setups are the same, because people are afraid to do something different and to stand out. But see, if you be different, you'll accumulate way much more wealth. And not just financially, but more wealth in every area of your life, because you're standing out and you've been yourself. Your own creativeness is coming through you, you know, and it just, you excel that way. I never ever found fun in trying to be someone else. I'm just one of those people. I just never found that. I mean, you can admire people and adore them, but that should inspire you to be a greater you and to bring the best out of you, but never to want to be someone else or try to compete and think you're better than that person. You can never be better at a person than being themselves, just like they can never be better at being you. So if people ever get that through their minds, they can understand that, hey, I only got this one chance here on this earth. Why not make the best of it and just shoot for it? And don't be afraid to fall, because it's no such thing as failure. Failure is just, it's like people can see it as a temporary setback, but it's a learning curve. It's something you're experiencing that you never experienced before. And just like a child, just think if a baby gave up. Well, I can't walk, I can't crawl, so I'm not gonna never do it again. Or I can't run, so I can't walk, so I'm gonna keep sitting here. Then you just grow up to be this sitting dummy, a vegetable, so to speak. No, they keep going. Babies are the most bravest humans, creatures on this planet, because they don't see nothing stopping them in their way. And what tears a child down is what, as they get older, what their parents or whomever are raising them, telling them, you can't do that, don't do that, you're not good, no, you have to come from this kind of background, you know, and they always telling them, you can't, you can't, you can't, and they tearing them down. So now they fear rejection and everything else. So now they become these adults and they become more in this egotistic body, and they go out there in life and try to get something, but they're afraid of rejection. So they don't even go for it 9 times out of 10, because they're scared of hearing no, or they got in their mind, I can't do that. I can't do this. I don't know how to do that. And they study going for it because somebody already taught it. That's the paradigm right there itself.
Yeah, you know, the other thing too, you know, Bob mentioned about people are, you know, too afraid, like you said, to step out of their comfort zone. I was at a conference one time and I saw they had a big round hamster wheel. I mean, it was huge. You remember when I was a kid, I had hamsters and gerbils and everything. And at night, they always like to come out and they get on that wheel and they just go round and round. Sometimes they'd hang on and the thing would go around like that. And, you know, I've seen so many shows where you see people, they're all just like doing the same thing, like a, you know, big herd. And we get in life, you know, and that's what Bob was mentioning. He says, you know, we get we just keep doing the same thing over and over again. And it's like, you know, and then we just get comfortably miserable. And then we wake up one day and say, you know, is this my life? I admired, you know, one of the people I have always admired is Steve Jobs. I always thought, you know, as crazy as that guy was, he was the smartest guy ever, you know. He always was a very interesting guy, and he really made a lot of people mad because of his
actions.
But you know what? He was very persistent. And they put a one of his famous quotes in the workbook that we got. And I thought that was very, very interesting because, you know, fear of the unknown, fear of not knowing, you know, we are so dependent on our jobs. And it is amazing how many people are so scared to do something. The only time they ever really make a change is when they're forced to make a change. I mean, it's literally they're thrown against the wall and they lose their job or whatever. But he said something really interesting that, and this is another one of those, we call them magical moments. This is a magical moment in my life, is he says for 28 years, every day I would wake up and I would look in the mirror and I'd say, if this is my last day alive, would what I'm doing today be what I want to be doing? And he says, when you start answering that is more no's than yeses, he goes, that's when you have to decide to make a change. And I can relate to that because I've been going through that personal challenge myself. This is another one of those things. And I guess this is why, you know, this is all coming to my life, because it's made me realize that my subconscious mind has been controlling me for a long time, but I didn't understand it. So I suggest to anybody to really sit down and ask yourself, if you are not happy with where you are in life, you know, what can you do? You got to get that subconscious mind to get with your conscious mind in order to make to step out and take that path, take that leadership role, and just take off for yourself and create a life before, like you said, we find ourselves getting ready to die. And I wish I would have done it. I could have done it. I should have done it. I would have done it, you know. And there we find ourselves, you know, regretting. And in another thing too, you know, we have such a interesting economy right now. And what's happening to people is, and even Bob, you know, he said, you know, you can have as much money as you want. God wanted us to have abundance. He did. He didn't want us to be poor. He didn't want us to struggle. That's not what he wants, because you said it yourself. He wants us to be able to have abundance so that we can do for him.
Exactly.
For him. And what's happening is we're having people waking up. I had a guy today. He's telling me, well, I don't know if I should take my Social Security. And we're like, well, how old are you? He says, oh, I'm just about 70. I said, dude, take the Social Security, because you're not going to, you know. But the bottom line is he didn't plan. He didn't step out of his comfort zone. He didn't realize his subconscious mind was the vehicle guiding him in the direction that's going to put him where he's just barely getting by. And he's probably like, oh my gosh, you know, it's another $50. Oh my gosh, really? So, you know, so going back to that quote that Steve Jobs says, you know, it's better to make a decision. And the hardest thing, I think, with our subconscious mind is saying that this is controlling us. But we have to say, we have to identify and you know, and like with me, I was kept saying, what the heck is wrong? I couldn't figure it out. For the life of me, it was killing me. It was really killing me. And I finally, it's like, it all came together, and I was like, that's it. And I just said, and I tell you what I was going to do. Major shift has been incredible. And listening to Bob Proctor and Sandy, I mean, it's just been really great what they're doing for people. Right. You know, they talked to a guy who was a businessman, a very successful businessman. They interviewed him, and they said, you know, here's a guy that's super successful. You know, he's got an incredible business. He's made a lot of money, but he came to one of our events again. And they said, what did you get out of it? He says, my business is even growing more. He goes, I took what I learned from Bob and them, and he says, I'm implemented it. I'm incorporated in with my company, and he claimed it. You know, that was the other thing. He claimed it. In his mindset, he claimed it. So it's like he took that position, and it was already, he already told himself it was already there. It was done. That was it. So his shift, his paradigm shift, because that's what they say you have to have. That's what Bob said. He says, you got to have a paradigm shift in order for this to happen. He goes, once that happens, he goes, it's going to be incredible. And he's right. He is so right, you know, because it's like the wildest thing you'll ever experience. So, I mean, I have learned a lot from Bob Proctor. And it's hard to put words to it, you know, it really is. It's just the greatest thing.
Definitely, and you do have that, and he actually helped create a lot of millionaires and things like that nature, and not just financially, but also great relationships with their significant other, their husband and wives, and relationship with their children, and things of that nature. I mean, he even helped a gentleman who's like a very known film film director or something like that in Hollywood. And he even won Oscars and Grammys and things of that nature because he's applying what we're speaking about, and he had paradigm shifts and everything. And it is the repetition of things that will get you what you want in life. And I mean, sometimes, don't you know, when like God said, come to him as the heart of a child, we have to go back to that inner child within ourselves and do the things and dream again and use our imaginations and let it run wild. You know, let it just, not like wild isn't bad, but wild isn't good. And all the things that you imagine, and just start just feeling like that again and jot it down. And as you jot these things down, you start like, okay, all your creativity start coming down on this paper, and you start to see as you keep going what you really want to be and what you want to do in life. Look, I don't care if you're 10, 70, 100, whatever years of age, if you're still breathing, you got a chance. Keep going, because you can increase not only in scale in life, but you can increase longevity years on this planet. Because life is meant for increase, but the minute you give up and you retire from life, eventually you move on. You see, but if while you're here, you can make a difference, not just for yourself and your family, but for all your generations to come. Let's start breaking those chains, those traditional habitual bad habits. Let's create change of good. Change, regardless of what, love conquers all. It always has and it always will. And eventually this whole world is going to be the same. And no matter what you think, it is way more great on this planet than there is other. I don't care what bad things that happen or what bad news that goes on. That is not even a fragment of all the good that goes on. Just learn how to get, you know, don't be so inundated with the news. Stay away from negativity. Stay away from negative souls. Stay away from negative, even if it's family. Like Bob said, you got negative relatives. When you see them, don't go too often. And when you do, don't stay too long. And that's how you deal with them. You can love them from afar. But with life itself, you know that you're here for a purpose. As always, I state, we are all here we are here on purpose, for a purpose, to serve a purpose. And you don't want to grow up or grow older. And what stories you have to tell your children, your grandchildren? What legacy are you going to leave behind? You want to leave great legacy. So start creating it. I don't care what age you are. Like I said, you're breathing, you still have a chance. Shoot for it. Who gonna make fun of you? No one. You your own bad, like hypocrite. You your own bad criticism. You will be your only. You're your only problem, and you'll always be your only solution.
Absolutely.
So just start with you. Start change within self, and I guarantee you, you will be more than happy than you did. And we all been through the frustration and what the heck if I was out doing and all of this. So what? Get past that. You're better. You discover it. That's the first step to recovery in anything, whether it's addiction to whatever. But once you discover that, you start excelling, you start doing things, you start opening up. And always know that abundance is everywhere. Abundance is all around you, even within your own home, outside of you. And everything that come across your pathway in life, the minute you walk outside your door, you attracted it. And it's all by your thinking. And if you want to attract better things and better people, better opportunities, start changing from within, changing with that mindset. Shift those paradigms. You can do it. It's nothing, it may seem difficult, but trust me, once you do it, the rewards you reap are phenomenal. And you're going to be like, why haven't I did this years ago? And you're going to love it. And that's, like I said, the rewards not only reap to be phenomenal, but you would increase longevity. You increase, I mean, you hear people in countries where people living beyond hundreds of years of age. But what they tell American citizens, your average age is 70. Then people think they're about to pass on after 70. That's a lie. That's a fixed system. But like I said, that's another video. And you just got to learn how to take control of your own life. Quit being so sucked into the presidential elections and all of these. People can't help change you. Only you can do that. Only you can create your reality. But like I said, it starts with you. No one in the world can make you be a better you but you. And no one can create your future, your reality, or set anything up for your family generations to come. Only you can do that. And you can teach that to your children and teach that to their children. And that goes your new paradigm and your cultural way of doing things.
Absolutely. You know, that's what I'm going to do. Like, you know, my son, he's going to go in business with me. He's 15 years old. You know, he's going to be set up for success. And, you know, he's starting to watch Bob Proctor, you know.
Beautiful.
I want him to be, you know, have the honor of learning from some of the greatest mentors out there. Bob Proctor is one of them. I mean, we have a lot of great mentors in our business, you know. Yes. It's just incredible, the wealth, the knowledge that they share with us. And so, you know, it's funny because, you know, people pay all this money. They go to psychiatrists and stuff to figure out this thing up here. I tell you what, it's like a traffic jam. Sometimes it gets overwhelmed with life and stuff. But Bob Proctor, him and Sandy, they make it very simple, common sense. And so, in life, if you want to have changes, if you want to have success, you have to get a hold of that subconscious thought process, and you have to, you know, clean that clutter out. It's like clutter in your closet and stuff, and get your mindset straight so that your subconscious and your conscious mind come together and they help you create a game plan so that you can have success in your life. And like Marisha said, you know, then you can get your kids, you can teach your kids, you can share it with other people, this positive feeling, and how, you know, now the light is off the eyes. When you say that, Marisha, you know, now you can see what's going on.
Clarity.
Yeah.
You have clarity.
Exactly. You know, and it's a great feeling. You know, it's like knowing how to get to where you need to go. And you know, and this is the other thing, you know, by listening to Bob Proctor, it allowed me to find out who I was. So, you know, finding out deep inside who you are as a person, that's the first thing you need to do, you know, and realizing that if you're having issues in your life, it usually is coming back to you. That's it. You know, that's where it lies, within you. So you have to address that first, and then come up with your game plan, do your goals, write them out, and make them happen. And that's what Bob talks about, being consistent. That's why he has you write that out with your left hand and your right hand, which is the opposite you use, so that you can get into the you know, the routine of doing something every single day. You know, so it's like training the brain. Anyway. So that's what I got to say about that.
Okay. Well, that was beautiful. I know we had a little difficulties in the beginning and a little bit in my internet dropped, but we still gonna go ahead and say our final words, and we're gonna end this video. But we do them weekly, and each week could be about different topics. But I think we may talk more about this one, expand a little more about this one next week. But it all depends. But at the same time, it is ways that exercise is more things you can do to help, you know, transform yourself or shift that paradigm. It's other things that could be added to that. And, you know, if you don't know how to do it, like we said, just start from within, jot things down, write them down. It's the repetition of things. Stay away from negativity. Definitely always stay away from there. And even if you got negative thoughts going on within your own mind, just think of your goals, something positive, something that makes you smile, something that brings light to your world. And instantly take that same energy and vibration and put it into your work or whatever it is you're doing, and you will excel. So, and at the same time, when you do these things, just keep feeling good. Don't let no one come and steal your energy, because that's like they come in your bubble, so to speak. It's like they snatching your soul, because we all are soul. It's like they just, it's just like just coming into your life and to destroy it. And you don't want that to happen. So just learn how to take control of your own life, control of your power, and don't give your energy to no one who doesn't deserve it. Learn how to not only bring yourself in a great mode and state of mind, but get around people who are more positive than the ones you know. Get around and look for things and opportunity. Even if it's just starting out with you yourself, you will eventually meet great people and great things, because God made ways, and it's through your subconscious mind you're going to make this way, because we create our own reality. Remember, he gave us this freedom to choose, whether we choose bad or good. But as any parent would want their children to choose the right road. But see, when we got so much freedom, that's what I feel free. We have too much freedom, because that freedom to choose, wow, people just go ballistic with it, right? Or they just choose any pathway they feel, until they see that they have a lot of hurdles and hiccups in life, and they fall and they consistently, then they just stay down. But overall, I mean, Paradigm is a tremendous, tremendous thing to do, and it will help you so much. And I thank the ones that are tuning in, and anybody who see this video after, I thank you for watching. But that's pretty much my final words for tonight. I mean, I could go on and on and on and talk, and really share so much that I've learned, and I study and I implement throughout my life that helps to increase. But at the same time, there's only so much time in a day, and I know everybody got something to do, and I do too. So and I'll see you, Kim, your final words. So I'm pretty much done.
Yeah. Well, thanks everybody. We just wanted to share this information with you because we feel very blessed, and
Yes.
it's our job and to share it with you. And if you get information out of it, which we hope that you do, you hear our message, you're going to be even blessed more. And just remember that the biggest thing is that you have to look in the mirror and see who you are as a person. But when you find out who you are, and if you want to change in your life, you have to make a decision. And Bob talks about that a lot. He says, I can make anybody a millionaire, but they have to be willing to listen. And we have to listen to ourselves. And you have to just be devoted to yourself and what you're going to do. Otherwise, nothing will change. So we just wish you the best of luck, and come back and see us next week. We're going to continue on with the paradigm shift. It's going to be really great. And we look forward to seeing you again. Thanks a lot. All right.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye.